Alrighty, we are up. Trying out some new stuff today. I am hoping that'll go well. Alright, so main issue at the moment is the let's see. Yeah, the main issue right now is the cells to the west. Don't know exactly what they're going to do, but we can try and stay safe.
Alright, there we go. So, let's see. Yeah, so these cells are our main issue. Let's see, are any of them rotating? This one actually might try to rotate. Same deal with all these. One. I don't know. We will just have to shoot. Well, the tornado magnet.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
The arch.
Severe thunderstorm watch.
Others notice the arch might be doing it again, so that's fun. Well, right, we're gonna have to watch this closely. Very closely. Yeah. I swear there's an echo. There is an echo. Shoot.
Alright, so there we go. Alright, so we need to especially monitor these cells that are coming into St. Louis. I'm surprised that none of these are severe warned, or at least I am fairly confident that they are not. Yeah, no, I mean, got all my warnings on. I am kind of worried about
Tornado warning.
Just got a new tornado warning, apparently. Oh, there's one out in Evansville. Okay, so I am fairly confident that this might start rotating more rapidly. So, because I am pretty damn sure that that's rotating right now. Which means that I would go ahead and start to get your stuff together, regardless, because there are cells that are just heading towards St. Louis. Yeah, these might, this one might clip us, but in the greater St. Louis area, I would be worried about this one. As it is, it's definitely rotating. Actually, most of these cells are rotating. This one, that's way out here, might be starting to, but it's hard to see out there. Alright, so yeah, our main areas of concern are probably in South St. Louis, as these cells could actually also start to form things like hail. I don't like that either. This hook keeps up. I don't know, this could be interesting. So anywhere in this area. Also, if you're in Arnold or Eureka, the cell, I don't think it's a hail producer. No. I don't think this thing is producing hail, but that does not mean that they're just completely fine. This thing has probably got some good wind behind it, so I would still be inside for these storms. Yeah, I'm starting to get a bit more worried about the southern cell. If this is a constructive merger, if these two things do merge, that could be pretty bad, but we will just have to see in terms of that.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
I do think that one's our main concern. Oh, this one by as well the one by Washington. I would go ahead if you are in Washington. This thing is probably blowing over at the moment, but I know it's already blown over.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
But if you are in the greater Washington area, like
Severe
Union,
thunderstorm warning.
you still...
Severe thunderstorm warning.
Well, that's a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings. Turn that audio down. Anyway, if you are in these areas, I would, start to take shelter because this is, regardless of what happens, these are strong winds and that can cause damage regardless. Alright, let's see. None of these have any severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. However, I would not be surprised if one of them do. No, I don't think our area doesn't have a watch for it right now. That does not mean that it's just completely, that'll be fine. But, yeah, I'm starting to get worried about these down here, but I think our main two cells are just these two. I don't think any of them are rapidly rotating, but, still, it could, like we've seen, it can produce at almost any time. Let me just adjust that real quick. Okay, so regardless of whether these are severe wind or not, I would not be outside for these storms. I'm kind of worried about this rotation right here in the storm, because if this is constructive, it could be bad. After what happened a couple days ago, I'm definitely going to be on no matter what in these coming days, because we've seen that arch is actually, it's not an arch, it's a giant tornado magnet, so who knows what's going to happen. It will be interesting to see if any of these cells merge, because that could cause something. This is just about our area of concern, around 5 to 6 p.m., so you guys want to be careful. Still working out some of the warning alerts, but you know, you gotta try. So it probably looks a little funky right now. I do think that what we have this stream is a bit better than last one. I do think that these cells down here are rotating. It's definitely this one. Yeah, definitely not be surprised if the cells are rotating. Don't see much rotation here. In terms of tornadoes, our main issue for St. Louis, I don't think that this cell will do much, but this one could be an issue down the road. We will see. At this point, these are mainly just wind producers. There's going to be a lot of rain and a lot of wind. I don't even think that we have a threat of hail at the moment. So yeah, no, this is starting to move out of Union and into more Pacific, in the St. Louis area. I'm not a huge fan of how this cell is playing out. What, another tornado warning? Sorry. Regardless of that, I don't think that the cell will rotate, but we will have to see. Down south, I really am not a huge fan of how these are looking. This is the closest radar too. I think that this one is fine. I don't think it's rotating at all. But all of these will bring a factor of wind with them. Maybe at this point, is really just going to clip the south portions of St. Louis, and then they're going to go by DeSoto. Basically, I think this is what we're looking at right now. I think that we are looking at mainly this area to be affected by these storms, not really the St. Louis area. However, if this one develops and it goes this way, then we could see some development. But we will have to see. We'll just wait and see in terms of that. You know, I just thought it would be better to go live and not have anything eventful happen than to not be live with something eventful happening. So, you know, these cells down south do look like they might. This one, it is pretty broad rotation, but I I'm growing increasingly concerned about these really southern cells. I think they're out of our star relative. Oh, I know they're not. Because you do see some rotation. You see the same thing here. Obviously, you can't see a hook from this far away, but doesn't mean it's not there. I'm not expecting much severe today. Just maybe some damaging winds and possibly hail, but it doesn't even look like we're going to get hail at this point. This discussion just outlines maybe 1.25 inch hail and then less than 60-mile-an-hour wind. So nothing crazy at all. Tomorrow will be a lot more interesting for us because we will be likely seeing some linear stuff. Yeah, we will likely see linear stuff hit St. Louis, and there is a threat of tornadoes with that, as well as definitely damaging winds and hail, because the wind threat for tomorrow is actually one of the biggest things. Tomorrow morning I should come out with a little summary for St. Louis by the morning about what to expect that day, so if anybody's even watching right now, you guys should be able to see that.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
I do like Weatherwise. I think that I appreciate that it's free. Yeah, we don't have a great visual on them, but these southern cells definitely do look a bit concerning, especially if this turns into one big cell, which could happen if it outruns it. And you can even see that it's not shooting up, which would be more destructive. It's coming from behind and could actually increase the rotation. It depends on which one's faster, though. This is starting to look
Severe thunderstorm warning.
pretty bad. This is mostly just broad rotation. I don't even know that this is rotating. Dang, how many severe warnings do we have? 11. Okay, that explains it a little bit. Thankfully, nothing by St. Louis. Y'all don't mind just for a second. I'm gonna check out what's going on in the rest of the world. We've got no tornado watches, so that's good. What in the world's going on over here?
Tornado warning.
Oh, look at this.
Thunderstorm warning.
That could be interesting. I think that we saw a tornado warning. Yeah, no. This announcer that I have might be backlogged. Do not know. Regardless, these cells are just kind of looking like wind and rain numbers, especially this one that's heading to St. Louis. That screams tornado to me, so I think that we are looking pretty decent for tonight. Really just some rain. really nothing much at the moment, which is good. We do not want excitement in terms of storms. It is the opposite of what we want.
Tornado warning.
Keep hearing tornado warning, and then I'm not seeing one. I've got them on. Let me check out my thing here, and I don't know, Spencer. Oh, it was canceled, I see. Filtered the warnings a little bit, so hopefully we won't get any more random ghost tornado warnings.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
All of these do look pretty messy around St. Louis, so that's good. Not being structured means that they're less likely to produce. However, these cells down south, like Cuba, Missouri, do look a bit worse. Yeah, no, we always don't have any. I don't think we have anything on the ground, but I'm gonna keep my eye on these just in case. Because while yes, I do mostly St. Louis coverage, that doesn't mean that I won't do other places if it calls for it. But St. Louis is my priority.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
And some more severe thunderstorm warnings in Georgia, I think. Yep. There's a big system. Oof. Huge linear system. That is just kind of tearing up everything right now. Don't know if we have any rotation on this, but obviously we've got to keep our eye out. Regardless, that's not near St. Louis. I'm not super concerned about that, and all the stuff down south, at least on velocity, is looking a lot less favorable. This cell, I think, is just going to be a rain dumper, so that's good. Doesn't even look to have very strong winds, and another good thing is that this cell looks to be breaking up a little bit instead of growing. And after this might be it for today. For these pass over. In fact, after these cells cross like this line, I might stop this live. I don't know. To see. Depends on what happens. But as you guys know, this is a tornado magnet, so nothing overly concerning, which is fantastic. Should add hotkeys so that you can switch between stuff. That'd be quite nice. Definitely appreciate that. You know, today's pretty calm, which is good. Tomorrow, however, is looking a lot less calm, which I will talk about that in the future, but definitely looking to be a lot worse. For us and for everybody. You know, it's tightening a little bit, but I don't think it's strong enough. Doesn't even have it doesn't have very good structure, regardless. Yeah, at the moment we're looking to be pretty chill. Nothing too wild. So I know some of y'all were wondering last stream. Cannot do super chats until I reach like 500 subs, I think. Which is it's a big number. It's a very big number. Yeah, no, nothing's too bad at the moment. Just a couple individual cells that don't seem to be doing much. Definitely got to keep our eye on this one, just in case. I don't think it's gonna do anything, but then again, I don't know. And this is a mess out here. I would not worry about that. These are some slow moving cells. Besides these ones. Yeah, just to go over it again, our main threats are not too exciting.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
It is good that we are steadily decreasing in number of severe thunderstorm warnings. Of course, as I say that, we get a bunch of new warnings, but we do look to be decreasing. I do think that most of these warnings are widespread stuff down by Georgia. Yeah, it's all that stuff. Yeah, no, the main issue is, I think it's this,
Severe thunderstorm watch.
but there's not
Severe thunderstorm warning.
much. I don't know, we'll just keep our eyes on this, but that's about it. And so is developing a little bit. Nothing concerning, but it is developing. Just give you an overlook. This is what we're looking at right now. I don't even think that we will get any of this stuff Then all we've got to worry about is kind of this little cluster. This might even miss St. Louis. Continues on its path, it's gonna go north.
Severe thunderstorm warning.
Well, this looks too dang concerning. Which is perfect. As you can see, the bottom left, our outlook today isn't too bad either. I did see that we have a chaser, Ben Williams, who's targeting all the stuff in St. Louis right now, which is pretty cool. Pretty sure he's live. Not entirely sure where he's at, or if he's even on weatherwise. Although, hold on. Here we go. There we go. Not sure if he's any of these guys, but oh, yep, there he is, Ben Williams. This man is live right now. He's been focusing on some of the stuff today. Regardless, we should actually be looking out for Ben, because he is about to go into this cell that I don't think is rotating. However, we do have a bit more rotation up here. The cell is kind of starting to take an interesting look. This cell is kind of exploding. Whoa. Huh. Well, this cell kind of just exploded a little bit. And it's starting to get some inflow to this hook shape. I'm going to keep my eye on that, because that might do something. I'm not going to speak too soon, but I'm not sure, but this cell might do something. Yeah, no, so this northern cell is starting to, it's definitely starting to get that more of a hook shape. And then our southern cells, especially actually this one, Yeah, that one could do something eventually. So I don't know what the cell's gonna do. We're just gonna have to wait and see. There's obviously no clear signs of huge rotation at the moment, but it's not to say that there will never be. Do have a couple chasers on these cells, and I could pull Ben if y'all want me to. I am gonna switch off my audio and see my desktop audio and see if he will respond to me. Because I know some streamers do not let you. So the cells down by St. James do look interesting. This northern cell continues to have this hook, but on velocity it doesn't look anything impressive. Yeah. So these storms down here do seem to have increasing rotation, which could lead to something. But if these were going to produce, they probably would have done it already. Sorry for the little inconvenience there. Yeah, so I would expect some pretty major wind with these cells that are going to St. Louis right now. Checking out some streams, and it does look like we are seeing some rotation on the southern cells, some visible rotation. Not on this cell, but actually on this cell down here. I think it's the one that Ben Williams is on. I think he's taking this down. It's one of these two, that or that. If I had to guess, it would be this cell because it looks more robust. Let's check out this one because this is starting to look a bit more formed, which you know, we'll just have to wait and see. Which I would love to do stuff or if any of y'all know Ben Williams, if any of y'all are chill with Ben, I would love to know if I can use his stuff, his stream on mine. Honestly, just show y'all what we're looking at down there. So none of these cells that are entering St. Louis look that bad. This one that's just a bit south down by Sullivan does look a bit more, I don't know, I'll show you guys it on reflectivity. It looks a bit more egregious. So you do kind of see a hook. And then we don't have a great visual of any of these, fortunately. I do think that the threat for this one has gone down and looks a bit more widespread at this point. Alright. Yeah, so I do think that these cells down here are our main concern at the moment. Not entirely sure, but these do look like they are rotating a fair bit, especially this southern one by St. James. You know, if y'all could let me know if he is free use, that would be lovely. Because I'm really not sure if he is or if he isn't. Ben Williams. I think he's going into this cell. We've got Robert Rayliff down here. Oh, I think Ben's about to miss this, unfortunately. all of these cells actually look fairly impressive. This cell by Solvim continues to actually look. We might see something come out of this. If it can maintain its structure, because it's definitely starting to get that overarching look. And if it's heading this way, it's getting inflow and it's got some decent power behind it. And it's more importantly, it's all alone. So over here by Union, we are starting to see. I think this line has formed and it's grown pretty recently. It's been there, but it does seem to just be strengthening a little bit. Yeah, you guys can see in those last few frames. Definitely looks like it's strengthening. If you are in Eureka, you're probably seeing some rain right now. If you're by Scottsdale, you're probably going to see some as well. This is just going to be heavy rain. This Cuba cell might merge with this one. This St. James cell is definitely just, it's all alone. I think that this one actually looks the most impressive. Obviously, I don't think we have any. Yeah, there's no CCs. We are also pretty far. I'm gonna take a look and look for some hail. We shouldn't see any. Obviously, just a radar blip right here. But I really don't think that this cell right here. I don't think it's producing anything. And it might be on the front end, but no. I think we are a-okay. Seriously though, if anybody knows, or is like friends with, if y'all can just somehow get me in contact with Ben Williams. Love to know if I could use his stream because he does seem to be more St. Louis and Missouri based. We have lost visual of that rotation, so I do not know what that will entail in terms of my ability to forecast, but we'll just kind of play it by ear. This is moving into a fairly unpopulated area. This QSL does look to be rotating a fair bit. So does the James one. Yeah, no, they definitely have the supercellular, like tornadic structure. This Stanton cell is really starting to interest me. If they can get its acts together, this thing might produce over fairly rural areas. Looking back at St. Louis, it's again, I think that we are fine. I mean, it's just gonna have some strong winds with them. Overall, I do think that we're calming down a fair bit. Sitting at 10 rear warnings. That ain't bad at all. But this supercell, all these ones down here, especially this Cuban one, still looks pretty solid. These two look really solid. This cell's starting to interest me a bit more. Not quite sure where Ben went. Oh, Ben is... Oh, I think he was glitching a little bit. Because apparently he is down here. I don't know how I feel about those cells. Oh, wait, hold on. That's the wrong radar. But, you know, he's at St. James. Apparently this cell is pretty dang... It looks pretty dang good. I don't think that we have anything on the ground, but there is a couplet flying. I think it might have a threat for just a breeze tornado. This is unfortunate. If anybody's watching Ben's stream, he has pretty bad hail damage. Apparently, he does have a tail cloud. He's got a big tail cloud on that cell down there. Regardless, you know, I just don't think that this one will do much. Storm by my Sullivan. It does seem to break up a little bit. Does not nearly seem as structured, so that's good. However, if this can maintain its structure, this hook formation, that will be pretty dang, that'll be concerning. Very concerning. Yeah, I think the main-ish concern is this. But this is over a pretty rural area, so that's great. Another good thing is that yeah, so I'm not entirely sure what's going on with the cell. This is gonna come with pretty strong winds. Nothing overly concerning, but definitely some strong winds with it. Now this storm by Stanton. This thing is starting to look like it is. It definitely looks like it's rotating. Yeah, you can clearly see that it's got some good inflow on it. You can maybe even see it on CC. Nah. Sometimes you can really see the inflow on CC, but not that time. You see this rotation down here does look to be weakening, so that's great. Yeah, no, this is definitely looking a bit more concerning. Storm relative felicity is a bit iffy, but you can definitely see that there is some rotation in this storm. This cell does look a bit interesting, but I don't think that it is. I don't think it'll produce anytime soon. This southern cell that's just coming out of Stanton continues to look pretty impressive. Once we get another update from this radar, another scan should help us get a better view of it. Because it surely does look concerning. Really isn't much. Just mostly broad rotation down south. This is a lot more concerning now. But you know, by St. Louis. St. Louis isn't saying much right now, obviously. This is kind of a, I wouldn't say an issue, but the cell it's clearly got a lot of energy in it. Could grow as well. But it does look like all of this is going south of St. Louis, which is great. Stuff going ahead of the line tomorrow is our big issue. ARRR did show a fair bit of stuff around St. Louis for tomorrow, which I'll go over that. I'll go over that later. Keep an eye on this because it looks tiny bit more defined. I don't think that this cell's gonna do much. I mean, it has a good structure. Yeah, no, this one is looking. This one's looking a fair bit more concerning. It's gonna be a very interesting day tomorrow. Huge squall line down in Texas, I know that for sure. Show you guys some runs. Tell you what, this one gets its act together a little bit. Could be an issue, but at this point, I don't think that we're seeing much. Yeah, we're really not seeing much right now, which is great. Yeah, no, so it's looking a bit more concerning, especially with this cell. You know, we'll really just have to see how this develops. Because it's done this before, where it's kind of just sat here and then look, we saw it here, did a similar thing, but it does look a bit more formed right now. The set on here, I'm less worried about, but at the same time, it still looks pretty impressive. all these cells. I don't, this one, this is my main concern, but we will have to see. I'm really curious about this next scan. So it's looking a bit better, but still nothing much. Alright, here we go. This looks less concerning. Up north, not entirely sure, but I think I think this will be fine. Yeah, no, so there's a couple things, but I'm not really worried about any things going south of St. Louis. Obviously, nothing's heading towards St. Louis. This thing that that we were checking out down Steelville does look a lot better, which is great. Yep, everything's kind of just going south, which is great. And now this cell, I think this one's cutting off its own inflow, but we'll have to wait for the next scan of velocity to see what's going on up here. You know, this cell, it's interesting, this cell down here is all the stuff that right now kind of fizzling out. The more south it gets, we might see some really early in the morning, I think, actually, or really just late. Alright, let's see. So for tomorrow, obviously we're going to see all this, blah blah blah. Alright, so when we get to tomorrow night, we are going to see, which this was, we will see how the trends lay out the rest of the night, but as soon as we get to kind of late-ish tomorrow night, we might see some stuff get closer to St. Louis and south of St. Louis. But there's definitely some interesting cells, like with this one, with this cell right here. That'll be more central Missouri, but then again, this was 18Z, and it is currently 22, so this is 4 hours apart. And we will see what tomorrow looks like in the morning. But I think that's about it for today. This cell looks interesting, but nothing to be alarmed about. It's kind of just doing what it's been doing. But it's way south of St. Louis, so I think that I'm gonna go ahead and stop the stream. This might produce, but if it does produce, it's gonna be super tiny. Shouldn't be anything too bad. If something happens, if something somehow goes through St. Louis later, I will be back online. Thank you. Goodbye. Goodbye. Huh. Whoa. I was being quiet that whole time. That sucks. Anyway, I'm gonna try and figure out some of the stream stuff.